Welcome to Squirrel, the podcast for distracted writers, hosted by Candace J. Thomas and Jody L. Milner.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Squirrel. This is Candace.
And this is Jody.
This is episode 45, everyone. Woo-woo! We are on Books on the Fives. And this episode, we are talking about doorstop fantasy. And what do I mean by that? I mean...
we like big books and we cannot lie.
the big chonkers, the big ones that are so intimidating to look at, which a lot of fantasy is. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And we as fantasy authors, I feel this is our genre. This is where these are our I don't know, this is our family here. That we
feel somewhat protective
about fantasy, and we've never really talked about it on our Books of the Fives. So this is a really fun topic, I thought. Fantasy honestly has, from the beginning, broken and proven the rules of word count. Do you know the rules of word count?
I do.
Oh my gosh!
I do know the rules.
I learned the rules of word count before, as I was publishing, because I kept on, my book that I was trying to submit is a fantasy, and it was 140,000 words. And as a first book, that will not fly unless it's amazing.
And chances are, if it's your first book, it's because you don't know how to edit yourself.
So that was a big lesson for me. But fantasy tends to get, once you've proven yourself, you really can do anything with the word count.
Assuming you have an audience that's willing to buy it.
Well, and that's what I mean, proven yourself.
Yes.
You need to prove that your words are worth something.
Because I have read, and these are wonderful people who are still in their journey of learning these behemoth doorstop books from new authors, and I'll start reading them and being like, nope, there's a talent set that that we should learn more about.
Yeah. That's something each one of us has to go through, this painful growth of how to edit down your stuff.
My first one ended up being 142 before editing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. My first novel ended up to being 85,000. So I cut
97.
half. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think it was 97. Might have been 94.
I would write.
We're talking about words, not pages. If you're in the writing world, all of you already understand this. For those who are listening because you think we're fun, a standard novel page is about 250 words. You can do the math.
Yep. So, okay. Do you find, I'm just going to ask this as a question, do you find these books intimidating?
Some
the big ones?
I do. I'll see them on the shelf and it'd be like, I don't have time to make that kind of investment in a story, especially if I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I still want to, if I start it, I feel like I have to finish it. And when it's 7 books that are each big enough to make houses, then it's like, ooh, I don't know if I want to start this. And if I do love it, I might lose the rest of the year to it.
And sometimes I feel I get behind on things. Like if I read the first one, but then the other 2 came out and they're that big, but then I don't read them immediately. But then the author comes out with 4 more books. I feel so behind. And it's so hard to catch up on all of those books. That's intimidating to me as well. Another question. Why does fantasy tend to be over 100,000 words?
Fantasy has a lot of elements that other books don't have. And they have elements that have to be explained. And so it requires a lot more text to bring the settings and the magical ideas and the strange creatures. It takes a lot more text to bring those to life. Because you can't just say, oh, they're in Philadelphia.
Right.
They have to be like, oh.
You have to build a world.
They're in random name of city and it's like this.
Yes.
And you can't just say, it's like Philadelphia, because you're in fantasy and people are going to be like, does your character know where Philadelphia is? If you're from Philadelphia, it's a lovely city. I've been there.
Yes, there's so much world building in it. And usually they tend to do an epic journey.
Yes.
You know,
So
it
there's
needs
lots of
to,
settings.
yeah. And a lot of the times it's different characters that need to take the stage, right?
Yes.
So even in fantasy, it tends to be omniscient, these epic books, because it needs to be told from a couple of different people. And it's not always the rule, but I can
Dune
see.
is famously omniscient, and it's done in a way where you just feel like you're flitting from head to head to head, although he does it in a way where it kind of works. But what I'm seeing in fantasy now is that we're seeing a lot of limited third, where we go from head to head, but there's always a scene
just
break
one.
between. And then you're very much invested in the internal narrative of what's going on in the character, because their emotional journey is very important. And so you need to get that insight. So you literally are inside each of these characters. And each character you add, they've done math, each character you add that has a point of view will add another 10,000 words to your story.
Wow.
About.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, give or take.
No wonder.
There's no exacts, but if you have a large cast, every time you add another character that's significant and has their own point of view and is going to be relevant to the plot, it's going to add about 10,000 words.
So when I had 140,000 words and I had 7 different points of view, and then I had to cut it down to 4, and
there's a lot of those words.
There,
right there.
Yes, that did cut a lot. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I had to take away a point of view from one of my characters to reduce the length, because I did not need to see the world from his point of view for the story to go on. So poor Elon had his own side story that did not need to be there. I need to go find that and make its own MIDI book, and people be like, why is he eating weird jello in a tavern? Because that was one of the scenes. He tries a local cuisine, and it's very strange and extremely spicy. And that's the first time he tries hard liquor as well, because that cuts spice.
Okay.
The more you know.
Yes. Do, 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 do. Okay. First huge book you've read or was read to you. Can you remember?
Man. I don't remember which one was my first really big one, because I was talked into reading Terry Brooks and Terry Goodkind and Robert Jordan kind of all in the same time period, and I have no idea which one was first. I think it might have been Terry Brooks, though. And yours is Terry Brooks, too.
Mine is Terry Brooks.
Which makes sense, because we were both 90s kids when those books were huge.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And that was like the birth of the Doorstop book was in the 90s. It really kicked up in popularity. But like one of the first Terry Goodkind books is Wizard's First Rule, and that's about 305,000 words.
Oof, okay.
So it's a chunk.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to read the entire Wheel of Time, it's 4.4 million.
Oh my God.
That is 13 books. So he's earned it, but some of those books are 800,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Jeez. Wow.
So those are just some of the numbers I was able to find.
And those are very epic stories.
Very epic
Very
stories.
epic.
Lots of characters, lots of places, lots of side stories all woven together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my first being Sword of Shannara. My mom read that to us. But then, and that was when I was younger. So that really helped spark my imagination for fantasy. But then I when I wasn't working and I was newly married, I read the entire series of the Sword of Shannara. Well, Tyre. I read through the first 3 of the Sword, and then I read the Heritage, which is 4 books. I had a good time reading those. Those are the first big ones that I was not too intimidated by to read, because I already kind of knew the story and I think that was maybe my gateway into being okay with reading big books. So, yeah, there you go. There's reference. Sword of Shannara is 226,000 words.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of book.
Yeah. All right. What's your most recent?
The most recent one I read that was above 150, although technically Aquatar is not over 150. It's skimming right about 130. But the rest of the series is 30% bigger each book, except for the weird one that's short.
Yeah, that's just like a
That's like
Christmas side story.
I know, it's just like, that's a normal length book. Huh, how'd that get in there? But yeah, they keep getting bigger, and I'm only on, I think the last one I read was a little Christmas one. But
So
those
then
are,
the big one.
the one after that's the biggest of them all.
Yeah.
And so I have not gotten to that one yet.
That's
So that one's next. But those are my big ones that I've done recently, except for I do almost all of mine on audio, so I have no idea how big they are. I just know how many hours it's going to take.
If it takes over 10 hours.
Yeah, these ones are 20 to 25 hours.
Yeah, those are big
at least.
honkin' books.
So yeah, but it's hard to be like, oh, that's this many pages. Like I have to look it up. Like, oh,
I made you
read
do
a big
work.
book. Yay me!
It's
just hard to internalize it.
Yeah, I read The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. And that was, 214,000 words. And it was pretty cool. So do you know what it is?
I know what it is. It's on my list.
Yeah, if anyone likes cool Japanese samurai magic,
Which is why it's on my list.
it is fantastic for that. It gets gory, but man, it is very power packed. There's a lot of fight scenes and a lot of choreography, and it's cool. It's really cool. So anyway, yeah, that's the most recent big doorstop that I've read. I went to some palate cleansers because it was a bit tough.
Yeah, that one needs a recovery period.
Yes, it was.
Like it's baked in. What about a book that you're proud of finishing that's considered a doorstop?
Oh, this is like a double-edged sword because I think one of the proudest that I can say that I finished was Breaking Dawn. Would that be considered a fantasy?
It's a paranormal fantasy. So technically, vampires fall into the realm of fantasy.
Yeah. Reading that was hard. I would come out of my bedroom going, why am I reading this? This is so frustrating. Why are they doing this? And then I'd be like, oh, okay, I just got to keep on powering through. And so I made it through it, but it took me a long time because I was so angry a lot of the time. So yeah, that's what I would say, Breaking Dawn. Or how about any of I think, is it Harry Potter 4 is the biggest? I was worried about reading Harry Potter 4.
Well, I mean, they did break 7 in half for the movie, but again, audiobooks, so no concept of scale here.
Yeah, but you didn't listen to you must have read.
I read most of the early ones, but I did listen to 6 and 7.
Because I got into Harry Potter in book 3, and so when book 4 came out, I was like, this is enormous. This is huge. This is twice the size as number 3. So I was worried that it would not hold my attention. It was lovely. I'm good. It was good. I liked it. I really liked it, actually. How about you?
The one that I'm particularly proud of finishing was Neil Gaiman's American Gods, which is 187,000 words. It's very complex, and it has a lot of surreal things that happen.
So that makes it the fantasy part?
So it is a fantasy. I mean, his are all, I don't know if we'd categorize them as magical realism or urban fantasy, because his characters, like his normal people characters, don't have magical powers, but they're surrounded by things that do. And in American Gods, it's this series of gods that live in America. Like it's fascinating. But it was also hard to follow. And so part of me is like, now I kind of want to watch the show, because they did make a show of it not too long ago that everyone said was really cool. And so I'm really interested to see how it turned out, just because there is some bizarro world stuff that happens.
Cool. That's awesome. What about books that you haven't finished? The big books that you had to stop, that you couldn't read?
So I'm a completionist. If I start it, I have to finish it. I didn't finish Les Mis because my library, I know it's not a fantasy, so it's kind of a side note, but that's the only book I actually remember setting down.
That one.
It's the only book I ever remember having to set down, and it's because my library loan expired like 4 different times on the book, and I could never get the same copy back. with the same edition, so I knew what page to go to, and I finally gave up. I'm like, I should get back to this when I get a copy.
I listened to that one, the unabridged, because I wanted to get through the unabridged.
Yeah.
I wanted to I wanted to be that person that did it.
Like that and
but
War and Peace.
It was hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of explaining. There's a lot of just walking through Paris. So I remember the entire like second central portion of it is like this walking tour of Paris, which is lovely, but not the story. So it's hard to get through.
Do you always finish books that you start?
I like 98% of the time. Like
Really?
I feel like I have to. I feel like I owe it to the author to see how that ends, even if there's giant chunks of it. They're like, what the blank is going on? Just because sometimes the ending will justify the weird, but yeah, I do it with video games too. Where I will play till I 100% things.
Wow.
I'm a crazy person.
Yeah. That is.
Thank you for agreeing so readily.
Well, no, that you're crazy? Yeah. Sorry. If it doesn't hold my attention, then I'm not the audience. So I will move on to something else. I can't.
That says I'm really picky about what I pick up.
Yeah. I can't spend my time on something that is not going to be fulfilling in the end.
Yeah, and the one I'm sad about putting down and not picking up, but not super sad, is Stormlight Archive, which is another Sanderson. And I read the first one, and I thought it was amazing and really, really cool. And each book after that
Which one
was
is the
getting...
first one? Is that Way of Kings?
Way of Kings.
Way of Kings.
Like, it was a really good read, but each book got like twice the size. They doubled every single time. Not every single time.
But he is known for, he doesn't have small books.
No, never. And it's just, it took too much time and focus. And so I just never went back.
Yeah, that makes sense. I picked, well, there's a couple. I didn't finish The Name of the Wind. So
I thought Name of the Wind was fascinating. Was it? So I really liked it.
I had a hard time just getting into it because I was like, where's the girls? That made me, it was just a little weird reading about all these guys. That
said, the second book, which name will come to me in a little bit, it got really weird. I still finished it. I'm curious to see how it ends. Like, if he finishes the series, I'm really interested to see how it ends.
Yeah. I also couldn't finish The Passage by Justin Cronin. And here's the thing. It was fascinating. It's about, vampires. It was in the end of the world and apocalypse. It's kind of the stand there with vampires. It was fascinating, but it was crammed. And I'm talking small font, and it didn't even have page breaks for chapters. It just kept on running where chapter this, and then you move on and it says chapter this. And it was so many pages that 300,000 words, 800 pages. And it was like halfway through, I say I stopped reading it because I was losing the story. I wasn't knowing where it was going. It did follow a whole bunch of different perspectives, and I feel bad that I didn't get to finish it, but it was just too much. My brain couldn't process it. How about that? So, what do you recommend as big doorstops?
This one barely squeaks under...
Yeah, the rule is over 150,000 words.
I know, I found one. I had to double check because I don't remember it being huge compared to the other books that are on this list.
Right.
But Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is 150,000 words and change.
Yes.
And
very good.
and it was charming, and the way that she creates unique characters that work within a unique world. I've been reading some of her other books, and it's that as a recurring theme is unique characters within a unique world. And the way that this one's pulled off is just really cool. So I do recommend it.
Cool. I picked Mistborn because Sanderson, he deserves to be on the list.
Stick with the winner.
Which series is that? Is it just the Mistborn series? It was the first book that I remember being actually knowing about. And it was because people at Comic-Con were wearing Mistborn cloaks. And I was like, what is that? And they talked to me about it. I'm like, oh, well, I haven't read any Sanderson yet, but that was the book I started with. And I thought the magic system was incredible. The world building was amazing. The main character is a girl. I liked it a lot. I really did. So I would recommend Mistborn if you want to start a Sanderson. There you go.
So the way Sanderson works is all of the books, even if they're in different worlds with different characters, are part of the Cosmere.
Yeah, they all interconnect.
They all kind of interconnect, but Mistborn is its own unit of the world. So I don't know if there's an official name of the series.
No, just the Mistborn.
But it's Mistborn. I think it is the Mistborn
Ascension
saga.
Is next.
So
there
it's
you go.
A chunky book too.
Okay, next big book tackles.
Next big book. So the two on my list are the one you already named, which was Sword of Kaigen.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one, it keeps coming up, and it's The Priory of the Orange Tree.
Ugh, one of my friends is reading that right now because I was like, what is that? It's enormous.
It's very big.
It's the prettiest book, though.
Yeah.
I'm like, it is like 3 inches thick.
Mm-hmm.
It's very big. What is that about?
I'm not entirely sure. It just keeps coming up, and the title doesn't give me anything. So even if I did read about what it's about, I've forgotten. Yeah. So it'll be a surprise to me.
I could not find any specific read that was huge. I know I want to read Sunrise on the Reaping, which is 115,000 words. That's not huge, but it's one of the, like, all of the Hunger Game books are in the young adult category, and those tend to not be as big of word count.
Yeah.
Somebody might be persuading me to read Crescent City, which is a Sarah J. Maas, and I kind of gave up on her, but they say that Crescent City is the best. We'll see. That one's pretty big.
Yes.
So I might venture that. But in researching this, there are so many fantasy books that are coming out that look delightful, and I want to read them all, to be honest. I'm like, oh,
I know, I want a reading retreat now. Can we just have a reading retreat?
Yes, right. It's gonna be I just can't wait for like summer break, and I'm not doing anything and I can just read. It'll be really great. So I don't really have any fishing thoughts, except that don't be intimidated by big books. I don't know. Is that the right thing?
Tiptoe your way into one that seems approachable and start from there.
Yeah. And as Jody mentioned, maybe audio is the way to get through those big books. The adventure is worth it, but it's going to take some time, some space. So dedicate some hours to listening to it. Maybe that will be the way to get through it.
Yeah, for sure. Although choose carefully which ones you listen to while you're driving in the car.
Why?
Let's just say having your GPS on while you're listening to a book that may or may not have spicy scenes in it. Super distracting. Super distracting.
Was the family in the car?
No. I do not listen to audiobooks with family in the car for multiple reasons, that just being one of them.
Very good. Yeah. Okay. So what do we have our next episode?
So
actually, let me introduce this one to you.
I think that would make more sense.
Okay. So this is what we were deciding. I mean, we're wrapping up our season, and what I decided was we're going to interview Jody. This was great. And I call it the 20 questions with Jody interview, and we're going to get out the bucket of.
Is it the Britney Spears bucket?
Not the Britney Spears.
No.
Taylor Swift.
The Taylor Swift bucket.
Taylor Swift
That's
bucket
right.
of destiny. Bucket of destiny, we'll call it.
Okay.
And we're just going to ask some questions just to, do a shout out to Jody and all the things that she's done for this podcast and all of the things that she's written. So.
And for fairness sake, the episode after that one, I will be doing the same thing right back to Candace.
So I have to be careful.
So yeah.
I don't want to get revenge slapped.
There are temptations. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a really great episode. So.
All right. I'm looking forward to it somewhat. You always worry me. A huge thanks for listening today. I thought this was a delightful conversation about a lot of the books we really like that just happen to be very large. If you liked anything you heard today or or were able to add a bunch of good books to your TBR list, your
Yes.
to be read list, you're more than welcome to give us digital tips in our tip jar. You can find those links in the description, and if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
And we'd love to hear about the books that you love that
Yes.
are big chunkers.
There are many places you can send us messages. If you find anywhere we exist on social media, we will get those messages.
Yep. Love it.
All right, this has been fun.
This has been awesome. Good job.
Thank you for listening to the Squirrel Podcast for the Distracted Writer with Candace J. Thomas and Jody L. Milner. Please like and subscribe to our podcast for updates and new episodes, and find more information at our website, squirrelpodcast.com. Stay distracted, everyone.
Digital chips and salsa.
We'll take those through.
Digital tips in our tip jar. It's not even that late. Check 2, 3, 4. Throw them bodies across the floor. Everybody get up, get down. That's probably not the words.